Hey, Celtics Nation! We're back with an exclusive video and the latest updates on our beloved Boston Celtics. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. This way, you'll always stay up to date and never miss out on any exclusive news. The story that has been floating around lately and catching the attention of basketball fans everywhere is the possibility of Gordon Hayward making a dramatic return to the Boston Celtics. If this rumor proves true, it would be one of the most surprising yet nostalgic moves in recent NBA memory. Hayward's first run in Boston was filled with highs and lows, moments of pure brilliance mixed with unfortunate setbacks, especially that devastating injury in his debut game. Fans still remember the way the TD Garden went silent when it happened, and how the franchise and community rallied around him during his long road to recovery. Over the years, despite the injuries, Hayward carved out a role as a steady veteran presence and someone who could still deliver on both ends of the court when healthy. Now the whispers are growing louder, suggesting that both Hayward and the Celtics might be ready to reconnect and give the partnership another try. Some say it is about unfinished business, others say it is about leadership, but most agree that it could bring a wave of nostalgia and excitement back to Boston, especially for a fan base always hungry for stars with a history tied to the franchise. The potential return of Gordon Hayward to Boston sparks endless speculation about what kind of role he would play if he were to put on the green jersey again. Back in his original stint with the Celtics, he was expected to be one of the cornerstones of a new era alongside Kyrie Irving, Jason Tatum, and Jaylen Brown. That vision was derailed by his injury and the turbulent dynamics of those teams. But even so, Hayward showed flashes of a versatile wing player who could create offense, knock down shots, and facilitate in ways that opened up Boston's attack. Now, at this stage in his career, Hayward is no longer the centerpiece, but rather a veteran who can contribute with experience, calm decision-making, and the ability to step up in key moments. The Celtics of today are led firmly by Tatum and Brown, supported by defensive anchors and role players who know their jobs. If Hayward were to return, his place would be that of a secondary piece, maybe even off the bench, but a piece that could swing games in the postseason when rotations tighten and experience matters most. That is why this rumor has sparked such debate. It is less about numbers and more about the symbolic impact of his return. There's also the emotional side to this potential reunion, something that cannot be understated. Celtics fans have always had a complicated yet affectionate relationship with Gordon Hayward. They admired the courage he displayed after his injury, the professionalism he carried despite the pressure, and the way he never publicly complained about his role as the team evolved around younger stars. At the same time, there was always the lingering feeling of what could have been had he stayed healthy and delivered the all-star performances everyone expected when he first signed. For many supporters, bringing Hayward back would feel like a chance to close that unfinished chapter on better terms. It could also serve as a feel-good story in a league where loyalty and second chances often get overshadowed by the cold nature of trades and contracts. The Celtics organization, known for valuing its history and tradition, would also benefit from the narrative of giving a former key player one more shot in green, especially as the team continues to chase another championship banner to add to their already legendary collection. Financially and strategically, the idea of Gordon Hayward returning to Boston is fascinating to dissect. The Celtics are in a position where they must be careful with their salary cap, given the contracts tied up in their stars and supporting cast. Hayward's market value is no longer at the level it once was, which could make the reunion plausible from a financial standpoint. He could be signed on a veteran-friendly deal that would not disrupt the team's long-term plans, yet still give them an extra piece of depth. From a coaching perspective, Joe Mazzulla would have the opportunity to use Hayward in specific matchups, maybe as a versatile forward who could handle the ball in secondary lineups or even stretch the floor when the offense becomes too predictable. Having another ball handler who can create his own shot might also relieve some of the pressure off Tatum and Brown, especially in tight playoff games where defenses load up on the stars. So, beyond nostalgia, there's a legitimate basketball argument that Hayward's return could improve Boston's roster balance, making the rumor not only appealing to fans, but also to strategists who see potential value in such a move. What makes this story even more captivating is how it fits into the broader NBA narrative of players revisiting old chapters of their careers. We have seen multiple cases in recent years where former stars or key contributors return to their original teams to bring closure or chase one last run. Sometimes it works beautifully, as with Derrick Rose's emotional return to Chicago in different forms, and sometimes it fades quietly into the background. In Hayward's case, his unfinished story in Boston is unique because it combines a sense of what was lost with the idea of what could still be gained. If he comes back and plays a meaningful role, it not only enhances the Celtics' title chances, but also reshapes his legacy in the eyes of fans who once expected so much from him. On the other hand, if the reunion were to fizzle, it might risk reopening old wounds. That's why the rumor is both exciting and nerve-wracking, as it carries the potential for either redemption or disappointment. Either way, it has people talking, and in the world of sports, the buzz itself is already a victory for the narrative. From the perspective of the locker room, a Gordon Hayward return could be equally impactful. Players like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown grew alongside Hayward in their early years, learning what it meant to handle pressure and adapt to shifting roles in a competitive environment. Reuniting with him now, with both Tatum and Brown firmly established as superstars, could provide an interesting dynamic. Hayward would no longer be expected to lead or overshadow them, but could instead complement their growth by offering guidance and stability. Younger players on the roster might also benefit from having a veteran presence who has seen both the highs of all-star recognition and the lows of devastating injury. This type of mentorship is often overlooked in conversations about roster construction, but can be the subtle difference in a deep playoff run. Imagine a scenario where Hayward steps into a critical game, delivers a clutch performance, and not only helps his team, but also rewrites the narrative of his Boston tenure. That possibility alone is enough to keep fans dreaming and debating, fueling the fire of this rumor with every passing day. The rumor of Gordon Hayward returning to the Boston Celtics also stirs curiosity about how the fan base inside TD Garden would react on opening night if it actually happened. Celtics fans are famously passionate, emotional, and sometimes unforgiving, but they also hold a deep respect for players who show resilience. A return would likely be met with thunderous applause, as the crowd remembers not only the challenges Hayward faced, but also the perseverance he displayed while trying to live up to expectations. Imagine that moment. Hayward checking into the game, the crowd rising to their feet, and the arena echoing with cheers as though a chapter long closed has suddenly reopened. It would be more than just a basketball substitution. It would be a symbol of redemption and a shared acknowledgement of the bond between player and city. The Celtics faithful would see it as a sign that no story is ever fully written until it's allowed to find its proper ending. That emotional connection could lift Hayward, inspire the team, and add another layer of drama to a season where the Celtics' championship aspirations are already burning strong. Of course, not everyone is convinced this reunion would be the right move, and that skepticism is an important part of the ongoing discussion. Critics argue that Hayward's body has endured too many injuries, limiting his ability to contribute at a high level. They point out that the Celtics already have depth on the wings, and adding Hayward might simply crowd the rotation rather than strengthen it. Others worry that nostalgia-driven signings rarely pan out, as the emotional pull often outweighs the hard basketball realities of today's game. These voices are not wrong to raise concerns, because in the fast-paced, unforgiving world of the NBA, sentimentality does not win championships. Yet, the counterargument is that Hayward wouldn't be brought back to carry the team, but rather to serve as a complementary veteran who can step in when needed. In that sense, the risk is relatively low compared to the potential upside. The debate continues, but the fact that it exists shows just how much Hayward still matters in the Celtics narrative years after his first stint ended. Another fascinating angle is how Hayward himself might view this rumored return. Players often talk about closure, about wanting to leave a place on better terms than the way things ended, and Boston could represent exactly that for him. His first day was defined by misfortune, by what-if questions, and by a sense that fans never truly got to see the full version of the player the Celtics signed. Coming back now would give him the chance to rewrite that narrative, even if only in a smaller role. For Hayward, it might not be about points or minutes, but about legacy, about showing resilience and reminding everyone of the talent and professionalism he still carries. It could be deeply personal, a way of tying up loose ends in a career that has seen both glory and heartbreak. Athletes often crave that sense of completion, and a Celtics return might provide it. The idea of Hayward walking off the court in Boston one last time, to cheers rather than questions, could be the very motivation that drives this rumor from speculation into reality. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The league as a whole would also pay attention to this storyline, because it fits so well into the NBA's larger culture of narratives. Basketball is not just about statistics. It's about stories that captivate fans, media, and fellow players. A Gordon Hayward reunion in Boston would instantly become one of the league's most talked about subplots, running alongside other big narratives of the season. Media outlets would dissect his performances, highlight his interactions with former teammates, and revisit the roller coaster of his earlier Celtics days. Opposing teams would take note too, recognizing that even a veteran version of Hayward could swing momentum in a game or series. The NBA thrives on drama, and this potential reunion provides it in spades. In a league where every season needs its signature storylines, Hayward's return would stand out as a unique blend of past and present, of redemption and ambition. It wouldn't just matter to Boston. It would resonate league-wide, reminding everyone that in basketball, second chances can be just as compelling as first impressions. Behind the scenes, there would also be practical challenges to consider. Integrating Hayward into the current Celtics system would require clear communication and a willingness from all parties to adapt. The coaching staff would need to identify the best ways to utilize him without disrupting the established rhythm of the team. Players would have to adjust to his presence, understanding that while he brings value, his role would differ significantly from the past. Hayward himself would need to accept that he is no longer the focal point, but instead a role player who can add sparks in specific situations. That humility, combined with his experience, could make the transition smoother than critics expect. In many ways, it would mirror the adjustment he made after leaving Utah, when he had to find a new identity in a different environment. If everyone involved embraced the process, the reunion could strengthen the Celtics rather than complicate them. It is not a guarantee, but it is a realistic scenario, one that makes the rumor both exciting and plausible for those who follow the ins and outs of team chemistry. Ultimately, the question of Gordon Hayward's return to the Boston Celtics is about more than contracts, statistics, or rotations. It is about narrative, emotion, and the human side of sports. Fans crave stories that make them feel connected, that remind them of the unpredictable beauty of the game. Hayward's return would be exactly that, a storyline filled with redemption, nostalgia, and the promise of rewriting history. Whether it happens or not, the buzz surrounding it proves how powerful these ideas can be. People are talking, debating, imagining, and dreaming, which is the lifeblood of sports fandom. If it happens, it could be one of the most emotional reunions in recent NBA history, with the potential to leave lasting memories for both Hayward and the Celtics faithful. If it doesn't, the rumor will still have served its purpose by reigniting conversations about his impact and his place in Boston's basketball history. Either way, this story captures the magic of sports, the possibility that at any moment, something unexpected and deeply meaningful might take place, turning speculation into reality and giving fans a reason to believe in the poetry of the game. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.